With the words on the page like a film set waiting for the director to call action, we are confronted with a character we didn't expect. And much like the character to whose name this book belongs, we find this book starting in almost a humble beginning. And it's not that it's a bad beginning. It's being set up in a way to tell the story that the book is trying to tell, but we're meeting characters at the start of their story arcs where nothing is really happening. They're both kind of in this state of waiting for the story to begin. And it concerned me when I first started it, but, I just feel it doesn't do justice to the story that is eventually told. Now, don't get me wrong, this is no work of astounding literary merit. It is simple storytelling at its best, but there is nothing naive about it. We have a cast of characters in this book, and each one in their turn plays this role of naivety. But as the book progresses, we learn that they are worldly, they are knowing, and they are simply playing the game. And I feel like that's what Jenkins Reid is doing here. It seems like an easy, simple read, yet as you go further on, you realise this is an author who knows what she's doing, and she is playing this game so well. We all know the saying that a good book can take you out of your time and space and transport you into another world, but this book does something quite different and quite interesting. This book doesn't just transport you to the golden era of cinema in which you vaguely seem to remember despite never having lived through it. It doesn't transport you there. It makes this story that it is telling feel as if it is real, as if it is an actual history, an actual non-fiction memoir about Evelyn Hugo. And it's no wonder why people have been Googling whether she does exist or not. Since the book spans almost an entire lifetime of Evelyn Hugo, there are some interesting literary devices which are used to show that passage of time, which keeps the book going and moving ever forwards. The book itself follows these narratives in different times, and between each time we see different clips of people's writing articles at those moments. We are getting blog posts from the current time, and we're getting newspaper clippings from a time long gone. And these sort of work as a written montage, just like a film, which makes perfect sense, seeing that the book itself almost reads like a movie. Whilst Evelyn Hugo takes the main stage in this book, we also have a great cast of other characters who are also intriguing and represent a different facet of an interesting identity. In Evelyn's story, there isn't one character who isn't strong and well-rounded. They are complex characters with lots of different thoughts and actions going on behind the scenes that we might not always see until later on. They have been so well written and so well developed, and they represent something that I think anyone who reads it can find themselves within, which helps to make it such a beautiful and poignant tale. The entire book examines the role of a woman in a man's world, where the woman is meant to be beautiful and she's meant to be the perfect doll to imagine a life with. Yet Evelyn Hugo is sexy and vivacious, and she's a strong woman who knows what she wants and uses her sexuality to get that. And there's never any shame for women having sex in this book. They are all very inspiring and strong and level-headed women who know how to move around the industry they're working in. But we see femininity in different ways from different characters. And one of my favourite characters was Celia St. James, who every time I read about her I couldn't help but think and imagine Blair St. Clair from RuPaul's Drag Race. Now, this book was really fantastic, but there's a reason I only gave it 4 stars instead of 5 stars. There was a dual narrative, that of Evelyn Hugo and that of the woman who is interviewing her, Monique. And it's that narrative that I really didn't like. Whilst Monique's story wasn't exactly bad or weak, it was just irrelevant. It felt like it wasn't a necessary part of the entire book, and I felt no compassion at all for her story. I had no interest in hearing more about what she was doing and what she was feeling. All I was interested in was Evelyn Hugo, because her character truly, the character only worth knowing. And I didn't like the twist that brought both Monique and Evelyn together in the end.